Hi, this is Rick Harsh at night in Isola, Slovenia. And I've been thinking a lot about my ass. And, you may cringe and turn away. But, you know, I've been thinking a lot about metafiction also. And I'm trying to understand what metafiction is and who writes metafiction. And, you know, because I was in a writer's workshop. I have a flashlight here to, lighten up my face. Maybe this would be the way to do it. I don't know. I was in a writer's workshop in Iowa, and I turned in a portion of my novel. I think it was The Driftless Zone, the first published novel that I wrote. And somebody said, "Oh, I think this is metafiction." And my first thought was, "What? What? What was that? What is metafiction?" And that was the first time I heard the term metafiction. I've never been a critic. I've never. Let's see if we can get this. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe I can put this underneath it. And yeah, I've never been a reader of criticism and literature. I've never been a student of literature. I'm a self-taught writer, and so to be accused or lauded for writing metafiction, I think this guy was speaking favorably about my piece of writing. But I could not understand this. What is metafiction? Now I know a little bit more about it because I publish and I've been around a long time, and I think Gravity's Rainbow is considered metafiction. I think that McElroy is a metafictionizer, and maybe DeLillo. I don't know, actually. To tell you the truth, I honestly don't know. But to the extent that I understand metafiction, I would have to say people like Henry Miller, Hunter Thompson, Rabelais, Rabelais especially, Petronius. These are all writers of metafiction. And what all the metafiction writer Joseph Heller. Now, was Catch-22 metafiction? Here's what I'd like to, ask. If you want to respond to this video, please tell me what you think about Catch-22. Was that metafiction? I don't know, because it's awful fucking funny. But I think that a requirement, Cactus Boots, one of our books, America and the Cult of the Cactus Boots, is considered metafiction. And it's really funny. It's really fucking funny. And I wonder if it's considered metafiction. But I think that Chandler Broussard and his Wake Up, We're Almost There is probably the prime example of the metafiction I like. Totally free. Who's the narrator? Who isn't the narrator? I don't give a shit about that. I just like the freedom that seems to go along with the metafiction that I like. Now, the reason I came late to metafiction is because I was on safari. While everybody else was reading United States metafiction, I was reading Latin American books and Indian books and Japanese books. I was reading world literature because the United States bored the shit out of me. Writers like John Updike and Saul Bellow, they bored the shit out of me. I mean, the reason that I can express right now might not be a great reason, But it was like, I've had enough of the middle class lifestyle. Why do I want to read about it? And that may be bullshit. I've had people I trust tell me great things about both Saul Bellow and John Updike. And they're probably right that these people wrote great things and wrote great sentences. But give me Joseph Heller any day, and or Henry Miller. These are people who did not give a shit about, well, okay, shit. Can you say shit on CBS? No. Can you say fuck on CBS? No. But these people wrote about shit and fucking, and Petronius wrote about cannibalism. That was a long time ago. And I'm not saying that cannibalism has been wiped out. It obviously hasn't been. But if it exists, why not write about it? Is anybody writing about cannibalism? Probably, but then they're called weird fiction writers, or they're put in a category. I think great fiction is totally free, and in that regard, I have to tell you about David Vardaman. David, is this the battery run out, or looks like the battery ran out? Well, I don't know. Maybe I can get some sort of well, maybe I can't. Well, anyway, point is that the people who write totally freely, Chandler Broussard being the most free, are people who they don't give a damn what they're who they might be offending or whatever. But David Vardaman, he's one of our writers, and he's one of my favorite human beings, and one of my favorite writers. And he asked me the other day, today, which is another day, and he asked me, how's your urologist situation, or something like that. And I wrote back. He was actually reviewing a book for me that we are going to publish by David Roy, who he said, is maybe too much of a gentleman. Look at my eyes. Look at my eyes. Does that not scare you? It scares me. And I'm looking at them right now. Maybe if I take my glasses off, it'll be different. But then I won't see you. So the point is that David Roy is too much of a gentleman. Well, he is a gentleman. I know him as a gentleman and as a writer. And his writer self is often overly gentlemanly, in my opinion, and in David's. But point is, that's just, how he writes. But the real point is, David Vardaman asked me about my my asshole, because I had a prostate. I have an enlarged prostate, which happens to lots of people. And, if you're over 50, be careful. They'll want to go in there and check. I had blood in my urine. I had a urine test, and they found a trace amount of blood. But I have blood thinners that I take. And so, it's probably nothing. But Vardaman asked me about my ass. And I said, David, can you once talk to me without talking about my ass? And his response was something about, I got to tell you this and this and this, but yeah, I want to know about your ass. And I thought, okay, all right, David, I like you. You're a genuine man. You're not worried about asking about my ass. And I think too many writers are worried about asking about the ass and the pussy and the tits and the anal fuckery and all that stuff. I mean, we're now in the 20 we're 100 years almost from Henry Miller first asking about Boris's goatee lying on the pillow and reminding him of back when people didn't shave their pubes because of Playboy. Back when Boris's goatee did look like a vaginal hirsute, and yet we still are nervous about all these things. So I thought, all right, a lot of you are my friends, and a lot of you are not my enemies, but you don't know me well. So I got a letter from my urologist today, and I'm going to read it to you because I think some of you probably care. It says, "Dralje na mnenje z gospodom se go pogovorim. Napravil bo cytorografija v sklopu preiskava mikrohematurije, ki nam bo prišel pripravljen s strani antitrombotične ambulante na cystokopija." I think you know what that means. Cystokopio. Datum bo prijel po pošti. Ko boste prejeli datum, se v ambulanti dogovorite za pripravo. Na dan posega mora biti INR 1,3 ali manj. Čez 6 mesecev ponovite PSA pri izbranem zdravniku. Almost done. Izvid na upogled. V primeru poraščenja bi se odločil za biopsijo prostate. Okay, so that is the complete truth about me and my prostate. And I don't feel any shame in talking about it. And, and I think that, you metafictionalizers should just relax and write whatever you think is metafiction, whatever you think is fiction, but don't hold yourselves back. Don't censor yourselves. I think that's Chandler Broussard's message to writers. Don't hold yourselves back. We all know, for instance, that in Gaza right now, the Zionists are slaughtering innocent children and so on. And if you know the history of it, you know why Hamas attacked on October 7th. And, but we don't want to say that because, what if the Jews get pissed? Are we going to lose our jobs? Are we going to lose our readership? It's like during Vietnam, you know what the U.S. did in Vietnam? Well, read a fucking book, napalm and, murder squads and all that stuff. Iraq. Well, what was that? What was Iraq all about? It's complete nonsense. Saddam Hussein had, million people starving and dying and, and the UN said, we'd like to come and check and see if you have weapons of mass destruction. And you know what he said? Come on in, check. But the U.S. lied. And, we had a fucking war. Don't be afraid to say these things. And don't be afraid to say, yeah, I had some great sex last night. It was really, I had my cock in her, wet vagina. I mean, and don't be afraid of that kind of thing. Just proceed. Proceed as a free human being. That's all I wanted to say. And I've said it. So, metafiction, sex, humor. I think the where I draw the line is if metafiction is not funny, fuck it. I want funny. And, okay, a little intelligence doesn't hurt either, but I want funny. Okay? So write funny and write free. And I'll talk to you soon.